Glasgow School of Art cleanup operation continues. Staff at the Glasgow School of Art (GSA) have started to remove artwork and other items for the fire damage Magnus buildings. The GSA said the first priority was to retrieve archives or collections which needed immediate conservation. It is hoped that it will later be possible to retrieve students' work from the building. Firefighters managed to save about 70% of the building's contents from Friday's fire. Final year students had been preparing for their end of year degree showing the building when the blaze broke out. Many of the students' final year work had been stored in buildings, studios. Academic staff confirmed that some students will have lost all of their work and said they wanted to ensure they were spotted. Staff will also be looking for new studio space for the fine arts students and will need to rehouse other departments based in the Macintosh building. The whole campus is to remain closed until 10 on Friday to allow the fire damaged buildings to be cleared and precious work stored in other buildings. Marathon efforts. Glssgo School of Art professor Tom Ennis said that the main damage was to the west wing to the building built between 1907 and 1909, which included the Macintosh Library. The 1997-99 part of the site, including the Macintosh Museum and Macintosh Room, has survived intact, he added. He said the first priority is to retrieve any of our archive and collection in need of immediate conservation, followed by the student work which will have necessity to be given over the experts for conservation work to be undertaken. Other items will be then systematically retrieved. Proofs in is also prioritized the work of the Scottish Fire and Rescue survivors and thank people who had sent messages of support and offers of the assistance. The SVRs are simply go to the extra mile better method in their efforts to ensure that as much of the Macintosh buildings and student work as possible was protected, he said. We have been overwhelmed by the number of messages of support from the local community in Glasgow and friends across the world, and the generosity of individuals and organizations in offering expert assistance to help us in these difficult times. Scottish Fire and Rescue Chief Officers also said that forest crews had done their best to have so much of the building's content as possible. He said those involved in this incident were prominently drawn from Greater Glasgow, and they were certainly very aware of the importance of their Macintosh to the city. We have all been conscious of the fact this is also a building that housed the work of Glasgow School of Art students, especially at this time of year. Headed by working very closely with staff from this art school, we were able to identify items and target our efforts to recover items to create importance and save everything that could possibly be saved. Adders, hiders, 240 fighters that seen with some of crews being dropped in some other form across Scotland. The work of the crews was praised by Assistant Chief Officer Steve Cotter, who has been incident commander for about 8 years. He described the operations to extinguish the fire as being particularly difficult. He said, "This is a beautiful building with a great heritage, truly loved by the people of Scotland. The fire started in the basement on the zone separate to the roof. It's very cold building, so we knew it would be particularly difficult fire to the fire. English, truly heartbreaking. The fire service is working with police Scotland to identify the cause of the fire. Some students have suggested could started in the basement furnace spark from a projector caught at the base of foam. Over the weekend, a number of parties pledged to help assist in the restoration of the building. Scotland's culture secretly Fiona Floods said the fire was truly heartbreaking and confirmed the Scottish government would support the finding efforts required. The UK government also said it would be significant contributions toward the cause of restoring the building. A fund has been set to allow the public to contribute to the cleanup and restoration of the building. The Charles Rennie Magnificent building is recognized as being as of the greatest example of the art damage in the world.